The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Barry Church, Danny McCray, Heckma Harrison, and Newey Scruggs.
Here we go. Friday, everybody. Cowboy Friday here, getting ready for the home opener as the Cowboys host the New York Jets. Battle of two teams that are both 1-0 right here. We got Barry Church. We got Heckma Harrison. Danny's got the day off. We are in the SWBC Mortgage Podcast Studios. So it's 2 p.m. North Texas time. We do not have the injury report. Brandin Cooks did not practice today, according to head coach Mike McCarthy. Zach Martin did take all the snaps. So, start with you, Heck. Okay. If you were in charge, you coach Heck, and then you're going to play Coach Church.
I'll throw it in there.
I like that.
Throw it in there.
I'll play Orton. Better yet, you Jerry.
That's how we do it.
G5, gas up the G5 right now.
Gas it up right now.
What do you do with Brandin Cooks? Is he playing on Sunday if it's up to you?
No.
Okay.
No. And the thing about it is, if you look at the next three opponents, so this one, the Jets, the next game you have is Arizona, and then after that you have New England. So these are teams that I believe if you're the Cowboys, you're going to beat these teams. And you're going to need Brandin Cooks much later in the season, depending on the severity. And I think yesterday we said that was his MO, and then we found out that
it really was.
Appreciate that.
So we did our work.
So our bad, Brandon. It's not what it is. So, man, he's just one of those guys. He is a key cog in the wheel for this offense, and you found out immediately how much he's going to open up the offense for Mike McCarthy. But what that does is it gives you the usual suspects that you've been talking about all along to step up. Colorado State's own Michael Gallup.
There it is.
Just kind of plug
I like that. Slid that in there nice.
Don't wear your sunglasses at night. But the deal is that, he's one of those guys that you've been wanting to get more out of. And this is an opportunity for him to raise his level of play. Everybody's been questioning that ACL. And I think you look for Michael Gallup, but also you look for Jalen Tolbert. Everybody's this is a prove-it year for him anyway. So I think for all of these guys in the wide receiver room, they have to step up. But make no mistake about it, this may be a big loss, especially going up against this defense. But I think you feel confident with the guys that you have.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that one. You don't play Cooks going into week 2. I mean, like you said, it's a long season. We still got a lot of games left. If it was week 9, 10, and this was for seeding or division, okay, I can understand, man. Push them a little bit to get in there. But the Cowboys, in my opinion, they have enough out there to go ahead and win this game without Cooks out there. Now, if Aaron Rodgers was out there, there's a little toss-up. But this defense is going to shut down Zach Wilson in that offense. And our offense should be able to roll against their defense. Not roll, but they should be able to put up some points. I'll say that. They should be able to put up some points. But you have enough, without Cooks. You got the tight end rooms in there, and yes, they dropped a couple passes in that week 1, but I feel like Ferg, Hendershot, and maybe Schoonmaker out there as well will get a second chance to go out there and ball out. And like you said, this is, to me, more importantly, this is for Michael Gallup. This is for him to go out there and, look, they paid you the bag. So you need to be able to go out there, and if you're not 1, at least be 1B, because that's what Cooks is considered. So this is an opportunity for him to go out there and ball out and see that, he can be that guy that he once was. So I wouldn't play him overall, but like I said, you never know what happens here in Dallas.
Let me make sure I also say he's got an MCL strain. So he's Brandin Cooks with an MCL strain, and he practiced off to the side. Explain to some of our listeners and viewers what that means in Cowboy world here.
So when you say practice off to the side, that's actually a pretty decent sign, because if he was just in the locker room with the trainers the entire practice, I'd be like, all right, that's done. He's done for. But with him being on the sideline, you don't have your pads on. You might just have a helmet on in that situation. He might have his pads on, but more than likely he just has a helmet on, and you're on the side working with Britt Brown and the bands. And I've been there plenty of times when I was injured. He goes out there and you go through a workout, and it's pretty rigorous. You you stressing on the things that bother you. So with that MCL sprain, he probably has the bands tugging on him, giving him added resistance when he tries to break off of that leg that's injured right now. And they're going to see where he's at. So it's not like he was just kind of sitting there watching practice, just relaxing. He was going through the workout, seeing what the offense was doing out there, getting those visual reps. But overall, he was over there on the bands with Britt for sure.
What's the date that he absolutely will be a go or not? When do they make that decision for your players?
For him, being a vet and he can probably get up there and play, at the drop of a hat like that. So I would say Saturday. If you see him in the walkthroughs getting those first team reps, then he's more than likely going to go. Yeah. Now, if it was like a rookie or in that type of situation and by today he wasn't going, then I say it's a wrap. But him being a vet and knowing his body, I think they'll give him until Saturday to go out there and see what he can do.
When Tyler Smith didn't play against the Giants with the hamstring, they talked about being cautious, and he even spoke to the media about, we're hoping to play in February. If that's the tact you take with your left starting guard, don't you take the same tact with Brandin Cooks, just based on what we've seen? And not having, I want to make sure I keep saying this, we don't have the injury report yet. That to me seems like what you're saying leading here to, hey, long year. You don't want to do this, and it's the Jets. Them dudes going to test you, too. It's
they're going to hit you.
It's a little different quarterback situation on the other side of town in Gotham City.
Yeah, no doubt.
You had last week.
Doubt.
So I tended to say I think you guys are hitting on that right point, but just also going back into what we've heard them talk about. And that's sometimes the decisions as we talk on the Players Lounge brought to you by Tostitos of just, okay, these are – it's what we think, but also kind of what we hear. And so the way they have gone about things here, I would say Brandin Cooks is probably not going to play against the New York Jets. It's all unofficial, just our opinions at this point in time. So let's stay right here for the pass-catching standpoint. Who will be the first player to catch a touchdown pass for the Dallas Cowboys? Because it didn't happen last week. It didn't happen last week. So, Heckman, who you got?
Man, that's a crazy question because Sauce is going to be on CD, so that's you wouldn't pick him. Mike G may be the bend. He's on the other side with Reed, and then that cancels him out. For the first one, I'm going to go in the tight end room, too. I'm going back with my guy Ferguson, as I'm sure Danny McCray is laughing right now. Going with Ferg. I'm going to say Ferg is going to be the one to catch the first touchdown at home.
All right. And you know what? You got the tight ends. I'm going to go ahead and say.
Did I steal tight ends from you? What did I hit?
No, yeah,
okay.
You go.
Okay.
I say, I'm going to go a little trickeration. And I'm going to say they're going to get down in the red zone, maybe 10-yard line, and they're going to pull something out for Turpin. Whether it's one of those kind of jet sweeps where it's a shotgun and he kind of pushes it to him, so it's kind of like a run, but it's technically a pass.
The guy you were trying to cut.
I knew you was going to throw me out. I knew you was. I said they got to pick one. But I think Terp's going to get in there, some type of trickeration, and he'll catch that first touchdown pass.
CeeDee Lamb.
Well, even with Sauce.
Well, Sauce played one side. Go to the other side.
That's true.
But ultimately, I think what you do is you go to your playmakers are paid to make these types of catches.
These are facts.
You want a top 5 salary? You want to tell me you were here, Justin Jefferson, Devontae? Then go out here against this group and go get it done. I was able to be in the CeeDee Lamb presser yesterday, and that's what we talked about. I should say Wednesday, but the challenge. This is it, man. You want to go against these kind of guys and make plays and show them what you have. He did speak about Saul, say, okay, he's a tall guy. It's a little bit different when you look up there and you say, okay, this guy's as tall as me. But I think that's also the challenge. And then I'll go back into this. What did I watch at training camp? It was a great question they asked CD. What was it like watching them have to deal with that defense that you dealt with all camp long? He's like, yeah. Told y'all.
I told it was cold.
So if he's doing what he's doing against Diggs, against Gilmore, I'm going to count Kelvin Joseph because we saw what he was doing to Kelvin Joseph. Okay? That's what the rest of the league may get that. But
boss man.
I am going to count on 88 to get out here and get to get the first one. That's me. That's That's why you wear the number. That's why you're here. You're Dak Prescott. You've been here for a number of years. Go make the connection. We saw it last night between Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins in terms of making the connection.
Yeah, that's
and
it
I
right
think
there.
he gonna make sure he put it across the pylon.
Oh man, that's the difference.
That's crazy.
That was crazy.
That's another one. Like, rules committee got to look at that. But that's it. It's been in football for so long. It's just, man, that's the touchback rule on that is I don't
insane.
know. It is.
But speaking of that, heck, last night's our scores. D-Mac had 24-17 Philly. Church, you had a 31-24. Heck, you had 17-10. I had 31-26. The spread was 7. This is why Vegas make money.
Yeah, you ain't lying about
This is
that.
how they make. This is how they stay rich. This is why I don't gamble. Even though I had the 5 points, I was right there. But I just had that feeling. Man, it's just too much.
You said it, garbage. You said Kirk was gonna do something.
He looked up, man. He looked up. 4 touchdowns, 300-some yards. I mean, dude was great.
You said
he was
it.
great. But that premise that I think we forget at times. It's national football. It's not college football, man. It's hard.
Good.
The 10 point. I'm telling you right now, and the 10 points scare me that the Cowboys are getting against the Jets. Man, and you know this from playing for 2 franchises, Barry. Jacksonville, being on TV and the way they were proceeding, playing for the Cowboys, and then being on how people viewed it. This is the CBS game of the week.
Yeah, you're gonna get the
Tony
best shot.
Romo, Jim Nance, Tracy Wilson's here. It's Jerry World first game. People gonna come. They're ready to roll. You had some Jet fans who already looked the schedule back in the spring, said, hey guys, we're gonna go down to this one. So they got tickets, they're ready to go here. You don't want to get embarrassed.
Nah.
I just think there's certain teams that when they're on the schedule, and I don't care whether it's the team, it's the Cowboys, it's the Steelers. It's the Patriots. You know, it's like, okay, they're here. Now it's the Chiefs. I just think the Jets are going to come in here and give the Cowboys a 60-minute football game. I believe the Cowboys will win. I predicted 26-17. But I just think that's it. That it's not going to be they're going to lay down. I mean, when you got a defense travels. I believe we're going to see a 60-minute football game for everybody who's going in there.
Man, I don't think I feel you, and I think that you're right with the atmosphere, and it's the Cowboys. It's AT&T Stadium. What do you expect? It's like that all the time. It's always prime time. It's either get down or lay down, and that's what our defense is in the position of right now. They did it last week in New York, and sometimes it is what it is. And I know we get paid to dissect this and find every angle, but sometimes it is what it is. And as much as everybody's now all of a sudden trying to convert Zach Wilson into, in some way,
like salvageable or he's a starter.
All of a sudden now, Aaron Rodgers has had this 4-month effect on him, and now he's gonna go out there and he's going to channel his inner Aaron Rodgers. No, dog. That carriage is going to turn back to a pumpkin. He knows exactly who he is. This Dallas Cowboys, Dan Quinn, right now can't wait to see Zach Wilson at home because his number one thing is to present pressure, make him turn the ball over. As you were talking about Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings last night, I don't care what y'all saw. I'm telling you, the Philadelphia Eagles in trouble. They won that game, but there's some things going on and they're in trouble. And turning the ball over, if Minnesota hadn't turned the ball over the way that they did, there was no way. Now, they had every opportunity to win that game, and it's trouble brewing in Philly. I'm just saying. Anyway, back to this game that we're talking about.
Look, you're not off about Philly, but at the same time, I'm not shocked by this. Which one reason why I'm picking the win division. I think the coordinator situation matters.
Most huge.
That you lost your 2 guys, all right? You got Steichen over there out there in Indianapolis, the head coach now, was your offensive coordinator, and you got the other one, Jonathan Gannon, who's the head coach over to Arizona, okay? I think it matters, and when you saw A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts having some discussion.
No, he missed him.
Coach getting there.
He missed him. He was wide open.
But
he missed him.
He did miss him. But then what alerted me, you're going to see that, wide receiver, quarterback, head coach. You're going to see that conflict. We've seen it here with my boy Dez plenty of times. But the thing that kind of bothered me was as soon as you seen that, they went to that man 4 straight times, back to back to back. They didn't care what else was going on.
The TO method?
So I'm like,
they going to force feed him now?
If he complains, that's what's going to happen? Like, you up winning.
Isn't that crazy?
Let's just say you got to drain the clock out. My man's over there complaining, I want the ball. You gonna give it back to him 4 straight times? Like that was kind of concerning. I could see, them having them powwows, and the coach got to go in there and dissolve all of that. But you still got to stick to the game plan. You went out there and threw it to him 4 straight times and gave Minnesota the opportunity with the ball.
I felt like that was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts said, "Okay, you gonna show me up on
the my boy.
You gonna show me? I tell you what we gonna do right here. Come on,
this is all you.
This is all you.
He did score, but did just a penalty. Yeah.
So you're right about it's off, okay? And
something's going on.
Minnesota, definitely, you can't turn the football over like that. You help give them this game.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not surprised because I thought this is kind of what we would see. This it's first off, you're Super Bowl loser. We see the history of what happens when you lose this game. Mm-hmm. It is hard to turn this thing around. A lot of teams miss the playoffs. I don't think they'll miss because of the way this division's stacked, but it's a challenge to take away these guys who are your coordinators, who are in sync with the head coach for a number of years, and they're gone. And Brian Johnson, yeah, he was around, but it's still because it's your offense, things that you want to do, just like we're seeing Mike McCarthy do some different things and Kellen Moore. It's going to take a minute here. It may take them a month to try to find themselves. Last night was an indicator of what we thought. They weren't clean in the first game.
They
had issues last night. Kirk Cousins and company gave it away. But how long does it take for them to try and fix their thing? Right now, they ain't in a good position because you're 2-0.
Yeah.
But you're right. Heckman is right. There's some issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There are issues. And how do they fix them? That's where your head coach and your leadership come in. And we'll see how good Nick Sirianni is.
You got these issues and they're winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, drop a game here and there. Drop a third game.
But when you say, Barry, last year, that same game versus Minnesota, they blow Minnesota out.
Out the water.
They blow them out the water. And the only tie-in that I have, especially coming into Sunday with the Cowboys, is that they can't first of all, you can't turn the ball over. And the thing about Zach Wilson to me is he's turnover prone. He's going to give you one. And so it's only a matter of time. Just continue staying in your base, stick to what you do, and he's going to turn the ball over. Even if let's say Dak doesn't have his great game. All right. But I believe Zach Wilson's just like last night with Kirk Cousins. Mm-hmm. He's going to give you an opportunity to stay in the game.
Let's stay with where Heckman's going here because we're talking about Zach Wilson, but I want to flip it next on the other side. I'm talking about the Cowboys and what they can't do. Heckman Harris and Barry Church. I'm New East West Players Lounge. Our man Danny McCray got the day off doing some Cowboys things. We'll talk about exactly what the Cowboys. You talk about worry about yourself. Let's talk about worry about Cowboys self next right here on the Players Lounge on DallasCowboys.com radio.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Hi, I'm Danny McCray, Dallas Cowboys alumni player here with Smoothie King. And Smoothie King wants to ask you, what's that sound? That's the sound of you and everyone else absolutely loving new smoothie bowls from Smoothie King. And woo, me too. These smoothie bowls start with acai and pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. New smoothie bowls, only at Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. #Be your own boss.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together, and we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Rally Days presented by SeatGeek give NFL fans an experience of a lifetime the day prior to Dallas Cowboy home games. On September 16th, enjoy activities at Miller Lite House. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of AT&T Stadium and more. Visit attstadium.com/Rally Days for more information and to get your tickets today.
Thank you very much, Heckma Harrison. We've got Barry Church here, former Cowboy safety. I'm Newey Scruggs. Players Lounge brought to you by Tostitos. Danny McCray with the day off. D-Mac is just doing some Cowboy things. So, by the way, he works for the team, so he gets stuff done. All right, piggybacking off what you were saying last second, Heckma, of Zach Wilson turning the ball over, and if you're the Cowboys defense, pouncing on it. Yes, agree with you there. I come back and I look at the Cowboys, and we sent out the notes. What I'm worried about, and I go back and look at the Vikings, their last 2 games here to start the season going 0-2, turning the football over. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys did not do that. So much has been made. Dak and the interceptions that he had last year to lead the league in the NFL. This is the kind of defense that, man, don't give them any help. Don't. If your defense goes and does their job, protect the football.
That's what you got to do.
Protect the football. And with these corners, they're going to try and bait you. If it's checkdowns and you're sitting up here hitting Tony Pollard, if it's checkdowns, it's Jake Ferguson, let it be that. Because I think over 60 minutes, you've got the better football team. And it's about protecting the ball. Kirk Cousins had great stats last night, but he also had one of those fumbles in that game.
This is true.
He had good stats, and they put up numbers in game 1 against Tampa Bay, but he threw picking. Jimmy Johnson used to say, and I can't hit the right quote, he says, it's not about the plays you make, it's about the mistakes you don't make. And the only way I think the Jets can win this game, run the ball effectively, get turnovers from the Cowboys, get help from the Cowboys, win the kicking game, and figure out a way to steal this thing in the fourth quarter.
No doubt about
That's it. So to me, that's where I'm looking at Dak, Pollard, everyone, the tight ends. Ball security matters here. And when you win the turnover battle with that defense, I will take the Cowboys to win 90% of their games because that D is that good.
Yeah, no doubt.
And we see it's 2 different types of football games when this defense has a lead versus not. Because if you got a lead and if it's 10+ points, I mean, we know what they're gonna do. Look at Daniel Jones. Poor Daniel. Poor Daniel Jones. Wife turned TV off, man. She had turned TV off.
He punch drunk right now. But their season starts this Sunday.
No doubt.
They get the first game. But you know, I'm sorry. Did you finish your point? No, my thing is this: is when you look back at Kirk Cousins in that game, they only ran the ball 9 times. They only ran the ball 9 times.
That's
so look, so I don't know how you're gonna win if you only throw the ball. I mean, if you only run the ball 9 times, he threw the ball 44 times. And I think when you look, if you turn it over to Dak, his recipe for a disaster has been when he's thrown the ball too many times. Okay, I mean. To me, it's always been my thought that quarterbacks get tired during the game. Not their arm, but their mind. Because you're trying to unlock a puzzle each play. Because this defense in front of you, you're looking at 2, it's really 3. You think it's man. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't want to turn Dak into a bus driver by any means. They pay him way too much money for that. But when you look at the game plan that they came into New York with last week, they had to modify it because of the rain. And that simplified game plan obviously allowed for the Cowboys to play with the lead with their defense and just not blow it. Just not blow the lead, okay? So that's the look. Will we block a field goal, running back for a touchdown? Will we have a run back, an interception? Look, those things probably won't happen as far as a field goal again. Knock on wood, hope it does. But if this defense is able to lock the Jets down completely, what you want Dak to do is play a very smart game plan. Not the fact that he can't stretch the ball down the field and he's just going to dink and dunk all the way down. Look, whatever it is, just produce points, but don't turn the ball over. Kid Tony Pollard's fumble, he fumbled last week, but we got back on the fumble. Those things do happen in a football game, but no silly mistakes. No silly mistakes that we've seen Dak in the past throw a ball out and it's like, everybody goes back to the 49ers tape. And it was like there were interceptions, regardless of who was at fault. it fell on Dak, and it looked like he was just being reckless with the ball.
No, you guys pretty much hit every single point out there when you talk about taking care of the football. It's the number one stat in all of football.
Right.
You know, you win the turnover battle. I think it's 85 or 80% of the time you're going to win that football game. So this game comes down to, with two great defenses, in my opinion, and it comes down to, like you said, who's not going to make that silly mistake, or who's not going to cost their team by, turning over, fumble, interception, whatever the case may be. But I will say this, when it comes to McCarthy, it seemed like from watching the all-22 film, and I could be completely wrong with this, or it could be because of the rain, whatever the case may be, but when Dak was dropping back, it seemed like the reads were a little bit easier. Like as opposed to Kellen Moore's offense out there. When Kellen Moore had his offense rolling and things were clicking, there was a lot of moving parts to it. To this one, it just seemed like it was Dak up there at the line of scrimmage. All right, a lot of motion going on. Hey, if my first read's not there, I'm going to just go right here with it. And it seemed like it was a lot easier to read and dissect. Plus, the receivers and the tight ends, they were all in the same area. Right. Now it's also a small sample size with McCarthy so far this year, but it just seemed like it was a lot easier for Dak out there. And we'll see what he can do against a better defense this week.
The aesthetics of it was a lot better.
Yeah, it didn't seem chaos.
You didn't see two receivers running into the same area. Yeah. It wasn't a pick play, or he need to run behind the guy or behind the guy, in front of him or behind him. Mm-hmm. That's I got that too. But I go back to your Jacksonville squad that had the number one defense. Dude, y'all didn't need Blake Bortles to do a lot. Nah. Just don't blow it.
Just hand it off to Fournette. Give us a little rest. One first down. That's all we cared about.
Just don't blow it. And so, Blake Bortles' menu didn't look like the Cheesecake Factory, It was
that book is thick.
It was real simple. It was a modified menu.
That's it.
Give Dak modified menu. I know they don't like to hear that because it's too much. You're paying it too much money. But dude, just order from this side, all right? And you got it.
The brunch menu. Give him the brunch menu.
No, it's the In-N-Out menu. You want the cheeseburger, or do you want the double-double? That's your choice.
Edible style or no. That's it. That's
fry, shake, kind of drink. That's it.
It's just
ain't no McNuggets on here. It's you want one burger, but one or two.
That's
so
it.
let me know if I'm crazy. This is my theory. And I was trying to tell somebody that this game may not be some 35-point output by the Cowboys. This may not be what we eventually see. This is a tough defense. The first two games, maybe the Cowboys are 2-0, and you're like, well, I still got some questions. And then they get on to Arizona, and then you start to see. Because I just think the average fan who doesn't watch the Jets here thinks it's old school Jet. They don't really understand it. This is a good defense. Yeah. That's the feeling I get in talking to people.
No, that's right.
They don't really, they really don't, they're not watching the AFC East, which I get. Because, when you watch Cowboys, usually that other game that's on is going to be an NFC East game kind of things. But so you're not watching the AFC East here. I just think that this may be a 60-minute football game, which the Cowboys at the end win. But I think at the end of the day, you may say, because I heard a whole bunch of people, man, we didn't really see much from Dak in that offense. He didn't throw a touchdown. Like, okay, fine. But they won, right? 40-0, right? This may be another game where it's not exactly what we think they're going to be, like they can be against some Arizona. This is a tough team.
Yeah.
It's tough. Fighting for its life, even though they're 1-0. I just feel like the Jets will come down here and fight for their lives, and I believe their quarterback, if the Cowboys get a lead, will do what he do. Yeah. Just like Daniel Jones last week, he did what he do.
Yeah.
But you got to force it on him. But I just think that this is going to be a little bit of a challenge here.
The only thing that would shock me, because I'm with you on that as far as it's going to be a dog fight for the majority of it, then I feel like that second half, it might run away with it. But the only thing that would cause me concern about this game is if the Jets were able to just run it down the Dallas Cowboys' throat. Then I'm like, wait a second, we still
Which is better. That's the plan.
Yeah, like we'll win the game, but it's like, wait a second, they were able to get 150-some yards running a football. Did we not fix those mistakes from that? That's the only thing that, would have me like, hold on, let me pause a little bit on this.
Run it more than 9 times?
No, they're going to run it.
They better
run it more than 9 times.
And just going on based off of what you're saying, I mean, you have these teams out here that will try to stick to a game plan for 4 quarters. And they try and impose their will. They want to get the running game going, impose their will on you. And the Dallas Cowboys right now, their reputation right now is pretty good. They're going to stop you. They stopped Saquon last week. They're going to throw, they're going to stop you if you try and throw the ball on them. They're going to pick you off with Diggs and Gilmore. They have things that they can take away. But if the NFL sees the Jets run the ball on them, oh, brother. you can forget all the doomsday and all, because everybody's going to stick to that. And I think that last year, if you go back to what Green Bay did, Green Bay showed you, oh, we'll just run it at Micah. If we just run it at him, and I think it started with Philly. Philly kind of showed you, like, okay, if you just play physical up front and you run the ball at them, then that may be their Achilles heel. And
think about Vic Fangio, though. Vic Fangio, remember when he's like, I did
the Denver, back in Denver,
absolutely.
Then the Raiders did it, and then the next season,
that's what I'm saying.
Kept on doing it.
It's a copycat league, and everybody's looking for that chink in your armor. And I just don't believe that the Jets right now have a game plan that they can come in and stick with that doesn't involve them being tough on defense. You and D-Mac were just joking about how when you have a quarterback, and I think it was Matt Cassidy y'all were talking about, like, hey, when you get a guy like that comes in and it's like, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. That takes a toll on your defense, and then all of a sudden, that's when it's late in the game, and it's a bend don't break, ends up the dam is broke,
it's over with.
And then the game is over. So that's how I feel like the Cowboys win. Is just continuously putting that pressure on them defensively, manufacturing those 3 and outs, maybe a couple of turnovers, and this game should be over with. If it is a tough game, it's because they made it tough on themselves.
Gotcha.
Which is sometimes what they've done at times. If you go back and you start to look at the losses, is when the Cowboys make it tough on themselves, so they cannot do that in this football game. Let's take our final break. What Mike McCarthy did at practice to try to make it tough on Micah Parsons. Let's dive into that right here on the Players Lounge, brought to you by Tostitos on DallasCowboys.com radio.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. #Be your own boss.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together, and we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Check out the latest and greatest additions to tours at AT&T Stadium and at the Star in Frisco. Meet Jerry Jones, an interactive experience. Get a peek behind the curtains and into the fascinating life of Jerry Jones with a focus on innovative fan experience in partnership with AT&T. This interactive technology gives tourgoers the opportunity to ask Mr. Jones a variety of questions. For more information and to book your tour, visit DallasCowboys.com/tours.
Thank you, Heckma Harrison. Heckma Harrison, too. Barry Church is here, former Cowboys safety. I'm Newey Scruggs. Danny McCray working with the Cowboys organization today with a project, so he is out. Micah Parsons, triple teamed at practice. Mike McCarthy trying to make things a challenge for him, which
That's the only way to stop him.
I mean, what was the basketball coach that came out and had the guys holding the brooms?
Yeah.
Brooms. I mean, look at what an ingenious thing. I'm like, if I make it tougher for you out here, so you get to the game and maybe it's easier. So this is what Mike McCarthy had to say about how Micah Parsons handled all the extra attention he's getting during games. He says, quote, I think he's handled it very well. I think he clearly understands the impact he makes on our defense, the opportunities he creates for others. He's very much in tune with that. Frankly, it's just to make him feel at home. We triple teamed him today on the last play of the game segment. It's just something he's going to be dealing with the rest of his career. To me, this is where Mike McCarthy doesn't get the kind of credit for what he brings to a franchise. This is a guy who's basically saying, I've coached some Hall of Famers. I think you have this kind of talent. So I've got to go out of my way to get you to understand it's going to be a little bit tough. So if I can make this thing tougher for you, then what you'll see out there, you'll be able to go and excel. Because he's coached Charles Woodson. He's coached Brett Favre. He's coached Aaron Rodgers. He's coached some guys that, Jordy Nelson was a heck of a good player when he was there for him in Green Bay. So I think that's just the genius of being able to say, all right, man.
I've coached some dogs.
Yeah.
But you're my dog. And I think I got to make it tougher for you. So when you get out there, it's a little bit, right, that you're going to see some stuff. I'm going to make it tough for you. I just thought that was a very good coaching point on Mike McCarthy.
If you triple team the bazooka, then that means Osa Digizua and everybody going to be in the buffet line. Get to the buffet line. Yeah. All right, you can come back for as many sacks as you want. But teams right now, the Jets want to know where Micah is right this very second. When they get here, when they walk into AT&T Stadium on Sunday, they probably have hired some personnel member to find out where Micah Parsons is. Has he made it to the stadium yet? We want to know what he had for breakfast. All right, because teams at some point, you're going to have to figure out how to stop this guy because he's going to disrupt it. You saw it in practice in Oxnard. We could not conduct practice. Everybody talks about one pick that Dak threw, the one to Leighton Vander Esch, the one they were talking about, the interception. Dude, Michael would have sacked him. He wouldn't even got the ball off. Nobody cares to say that, but
that happened a lot.
That happened a lot
out there.
Okay.
That happened a lot out there.
So, I mean, our offense probably, that's why CD can tell you better than anybody. Dude, we going versus the number one defense each and every week, dog. We ready to go.
No doubt.
We see ain't nothing you can do to us because we're seeing it every day in practice, right? So, look, I just feel like for a guy like Mekhi Becton, okay, a guy like Mekhi Becton, all week long is seeing 11. He probably can't wait till 8 o'clock on Sunday for it to all be over so he can worry about something else because an often injured tackle that's only started 16 games in 4 years in the league, dog, and you come up against this? I don't know, bro.
No, you guys are 100% right. And what impresses me a lot about McCarthy is, and what he should get a lot of credit for is, I mean, since he's been here, he's had this team ready to go in pretty much every single game. Now, last year there was a couple games here and there. We talk about the Houston, we talk about Indianapolis, where they kind of started out slow, but eventually they ended up winning those games. And to me, he's getting the most out of each and every one of his players out there. I mean, you just see it. And he develops these guys from start to finish and gets it going. I mean, we saw last year when Dak went down, Cooper Rush was ready to go. As soon as that 4-1, he was ready to go. So, to me, I got to give that man a lot of kudos, man, because no matter what the situation is, no matter what's going on, he's able to get those players going. And then you talk about earlier, in a couple of years ago, penalties was the big thing. Right. Man, this team just undisciplined. Penalties. The very next year, that's cut in half, or it was cleaned up. So, I mean, we got to give that guy a heck of a lot of credit because he's a hell of a coach here in the National Football League.
Let me ask you this. I mean, you've covered coaches in the National Football League for a long time. Why does Mike McCarthy get disrespected by the media the way that he does? He's one of the winningest active coaches in the NFL right now. The man has a Super Bowl.
They had him at 21 at the beginning of the season. The coaches' rankings.
That's crazy. I mean, what is the reason for the Mike McCarthy? What is it about him as a coach that makes people so easy to disrespect?
I'm going to give you a name of a Hall of Fame head coach who, in my opinion, reminds me a little bit about the way he goes about his business, who I feel gets no respect for what he's done. Chuck Noll. Chuck Noll was never a guy who was a rah-rah guy. You know, he wasn't out here. You know, he wasn't the guy that the TV cameras went to. He didn't go seek it out. Chuck was about his business. Mike is a lot like Chuck, and he's from Pittsburgh. Mike's about his business. Sean Payton, who was here? Sean likes the cameras. Sean likes talking to media offline. And Bill Parcells was great at playing to the cameras, and Sean learned a lot from that. Even Mike Zimmer played that well too when he was in Minnesota, of what he learned from Bill. That's not Mike McCarthy. You know, Mike's got a dry sense of humor. You don't. He's not a personality hack, and he doesn't try to play the personality card that other people do or look at me or anything like that. He doesn't have. When you listen to his speeches, you tell me, have you ever heard one that just made, oh man, I'm gonna run through this door? Marty Schottenheimer was great at it. Yeah. Marty was great. You know, he had great speeches, and that's not him. He doesn't have hey, how about them Cowboys like Jimmy Johnson? He also, and this is a key thing, we've never really seen him mic'd up on NFL films. That stuff matters because people really make their judgments on. When they did Hard Knocks, usually they either love the coach or they hate the coach. Mike kind of came out flat. You had no real opinion about him. He was just, okay, solid guy. But that's a part of it right there. Heck, he's just a steady dude. Even though he's got more wins than Bill Cowher all time, more wins than Tony Dungy all time. You came into a situation where some people, well, you had Brett Favre, and he was already there. Oh, you had Aaron Rodgers. Even though you praise Sean Payton, who did Sean Payton have? Drew Brees. What coach is winning with bumps?
Nobody.
But a part of that, and this is something, if I were a public relations type person, I would say to at some point in time, maybe you want to cultivate and do it. What's Jerry doing right now? You got a Netflix show you're working on. They following Jerry, right? Bill Belichick spent a whole year where NFL Films followed him. And I think I actually heard that one of the regrets Don Shula had was that he never did anything like that, where they got to see the insides of him and also just what the Dolphins were. Meanwhile, Vince Lombardi, Vince Lombardi was everyone. So I wonder about that for Mike.
So you're saying like a more of a personable person. They don't like him because they don't know him.
Go back to what Tom Pelissero did when he went to the barn when he was out of work. Mike couldn't get a job. That's that first year he got back. He didn't get a job. Jets didn't want him. Browns didn't want him. All of a sudden, Pelissero, NFL Network, they go up there to the barn. Then Peter King, he lets him go up there. He writes it for NBC. Next thing you know, he's getting interviews and he's coaching the Cowboys. Perception matters. Parcells said he's not the greatest line. He said, "Perception is reality."
I remember that one.
And it matters here. Chuck Noll just wasn't a guy running to the cameras. But tell me a better teacher than Chuck Noll. There wasn't a better teacher. No. Tell me a guy who had a better, just go about your business. The Steelers weren't out there. I mean, you weren't out scheming them. I remember it was a great thing I read it because I've got this great book called Their Life's Work. I can't remember the guy who wrote it on the Steelers. And as a Cowboy fan, I always tell people, Art of War, #1, know thy enemy. So I read about the Steelers. Rocky Blyers on the sidelines, his rookie, and he's out there cheering, all right, guys, all right. And Chuck Noll looks at, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
Chill, young man.
and here was Chuck's thing. Know your assignment. Do your assignment. I don't need to motivate you. Guys, this is professional football. My job is not to motivate, go do your job. And then, of course, you get Joe Green. Joe Green sets the tone. Everybody else falls in line. And eventually they got the quarterback situation worked out. But Chuck was a defensive coordinator for the New York Jets, by the way. For the Baltimore Colts. They ended up losing to the Jets. Chuck Noll been a defensive guy for a long time. He knows, and it was just the standard that they set. But he never beat his chest. Some coaches like to go. Nick Sirianni like himself with the Philly. He like himself.
He's seen the T-shirts and all that. Yeah,
you never saw no Chuck Noll beat Dallas.
No, but to me, that's all gimmicky. When you got to come up with a gimmick. It's like the bars. That's your gimmick. That's you lacking this, so you got to have a gimmick to come up with. It just, to me, when I look at Mike McCarthy, he's a guy that really has done. He doesn't have any blemishes with anything crazy that he's done to players or as a coach. All he's been even being disrespected by Green Bay and their upper management, even with bringing in free agents and that story with that. But then you look around the league, the guys like Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll calls one of the worst plays on the 1 yard. He doesn't even get the venom that he should. He's won a Super Bowl, and when people start talking about winning coaches, they revere and regard him to be one of those guys. But Mike, they never set him aside the way that they sit other Super Bowl coaches aside.
But go back to Pete. So Pete took over for Parcells in New England. That thing went downhill. And so he's out of the game, reinvents himself. Pete's big thing got the SC stuff.
Oh, yeah, when he was
because when he went to first, they canceled season tickets. Not this dude. So he got the whole Hollywood thing behind him. So when Pete go to the NFL, it's like, oh yeah, Hollywood Pete. Yeah. And then, of course, he had the defense. And Pete likes to talk. He's the guy. He's out there clapping, and he's a young guy
running around. Yeah,
that wasn't Chuck.
No.
Even it wasn't Tom Landry, but Tom Landry had the benefit of the Cowboys playing the Giants in New York every year. Washington, Philadelphia. Gil Brandt did one of the smartest things ever. He put the Cowboys in the major media markets, which meant they're on TV all the time. And so you could not turn on your TV and not see Tom Landry and the Cowboys. And Tom Landry, he wasn't yelling or screaming or anything like that, but he was there. The Steelers, when I was growing up, when I saw Steelers, I would see him on a couple of games. But normally, because back in the day, I had 2 channels, right? We had 2 channels. Two channels. Okay. It was the CBS, because back then the Cowboys were on CBS. So it was the Cowboy game on CBS, and then the other game, and the Cowboy game was usually 4 o'clock in the East, 3 o'clock here. And then so the earlier game would usually be a NFC East game. So let's say it was the Giants taking on whoever. Mm-hmm. So you'd see like the Giant games and the Cowboy games. So you didn't really see the Steelers a whole lot. And then when you did see them, it was in the playoffs. And so you didn't see as many football games like that unless you lived in that area.
That's true. But
so that's how, and mainly I lived in areas where it was the Cowboys. Whether we living in Texas, whether living in Georgia, North Carolina, it was That was they were a national team. The Steelers were winning, but it was still kind of regionalized in the terms of the TV market. So Tom Landry had that there, but that's a great question. I had a good conversation with people about that. Let me go to this last thing here before we go. We've not talked about special teams. The Jets ran back a punt. Xavier Gibson, he ran that sucker back. He is from here, Woodrow Wilson High.
Woodrow Wilson High. Tim Brown's old stomping ground.
Yes. And then was it Davey O'Brien who went there one? Like they got 2 Heisman Trophy winners from Wilson.
I believe so.
Yes.
Hey, Wilson?
Not Davey O'Brien. Doak Walker. I'm sorry. Doak Walker. I apologize, SMU fans. So Greg Zuerlein, by the way, 3 for 3 in field goals. His longest was 43 yards. So this Greg the Leg. This is an area the Cowboys must win. John Fossil's got to win this because if you're the Jets, you've got to win the special teams in your defense. Right. It just offense. Hold on, don't turn it up. That's just
Bones Fossil.
So that's what we did. So the mojo moment. So to me, this is an area because if I'm the Jets, that's what I say. If I'm Robert Saleh, guys, we got to win this phase of the game. And if you're Bones Fossil, you're like, guys, we got to win this phase of the game.
Our kicker, as far as kickoffs, our kicker is kicking it through the stadium. So you don't have to worry about him to get nothing on kickoffs. We have one of the best punters in the game in Brian Anger. And I think whatever Brian Anger is going to do, he's going to get him to a side. I mean, that walk-off touchdown to me, that was crazy. And the Buffalo obviously didn't do their homework on Hard Knocks to see that this young man is a spark plug and he will take it to the house on you. But the tape is out. Just like everything else. I mean, tape is out on Colorado now. Tape is out. We know who they are. So they gotta stop this young man.
Let me interrupt real quick. The practice report just hit. Okay, we've got it right now. All right, Brandin Cooks did not practice. He's questionable in the game. Zach Martin, he was limited, questionable for the game. Whoa. But took all snaps. He played.
Yeah, he played.
Tyler Smith, more importantly, did not practice. He is doubtful for the game.
He ain't playing either.
Donovan Wilson with the calf injury, limited, doubtful for the game.
He's doubtful.
Yes. Yeah, Sam Williams on the injury report with a personal issue, didn't practice, but he should be playing. Here's one, guys. Thank you, producer Chris Bean, for pointing this out. Greg the Leg Zerline is on the injury report with a right groin. He did not practice.
Bones made the call. Bones made the call. Hey, well, you know what to do.
Hook 'em left is back.
Hey, you know what to do. You know what to do.
Offensive linemen Dwayne Brown and Mekhi Becton, they were limited in practice earlier in the week, but they were full participants today. Breece Hall with the knee, he was limited on Thursday. He was a full participant. So that is your injury report for both teams there.
Rest them up.
Guys, it'll be good. It'll be good.
And I want to tell you, Doak Walker went to Highland Park, man. He didn't go to Woodrow Wilson.
Who went to Wilson?
I have no idea. You got my head spinning. I have, but I know they do have two high. I think they have two Heisman winners. So
yeah, I'm trying to figure out who.
It's a good plug, but anyway,
somebody did it. Somebody else with Tim Brown. Somebody tweeted to me. By the way, before we go, let's just make sure we got our Cowboy games in here and what we had on the list. So I've got Dallas winning against the Jets 26-17. Heckma, I've got you down here 24-10 from yesterday. Yeah. Danny McCray 31-10 Dallas. And Barry Church 28-7 Cowboys.
Yeah, they're going to win, even though I picked the Jets earlier in this. So it's going to go against the L on my overall, but yeah, we know now.
You know what, dog? We're going to have to start recording your picks, though.
When we first did them, they had A-Rod. I was like, man, but now, it's a wrap. It's done for. It's a done data.
All right, take us out.
Let's get to week 3.
Y'all know what time it is. And, we got our guy, Zach Wilson, coming to town, and he's going to try and do his best Aaron Rodgers impersonation, man. And he's going to have a whole lot of tissue in his shoes in order to be that, because he wears a size 6 in girls. And we coming after him. Cowboy Nation, I hope your team win.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!